Hello, my name is Eric Slaxon. I'm the CTO here at iVision. And for this month's Pulse, I want to discuss funding for security-focused initiatives. Now, let me start by saying I think we're doing so much better than we have in years past. I believe funding goes all the way up to the board level. I believe our CISOs understands the heightened risk for all the current threats. And they're also worried about their insurance premiums increasing due to a cybersecurity attack. So to help me discuss this topic, Raul Khanna. He's our principal consultant on the identity and access management practice. And so, Raul, welcome to the talk.
Thank you, Eric.
So, Raul, first of all, do you agree that it's definitely better than it has been in past years? And what are your thoughts on the companies that still struggle for funding?
Actually, yes, I do agree that it's better than it has been in the past. But as you mentioned, there are companies that still struggle. And why is that? We would ask. It's how we view security, right? We know that it's needed. And although there are certain cyber threats out there that make the news and really grab attention of companies, especially at the CISO level, and really motivates them to go and get these things secure, identity and access management, for example, and other areas of information security are very broad. And there's quite a lot to be able to implement to really secure and mature so that the businesses or government agencies can fulfill what they are trying to embark on.
So completely agree. Good thoughts on that. So what, in your opinion, for those companies that are underfunded, what's the solution here?
For some of these companies that are struggling to secure funding, really what it takes is for them to be able to view or articulate security as an investment. And this is something Gartner has been chanting, especially at their security and risk management summits. When there's a breach that occurs, what is lost? Well, there's reputational damage, there's financial consequences, and certainly because of the reputation damage, there's a lack of trust, and it could even be a bit of a loss of the customer or the end user base. And at the end of the day, when you look at that loss, if we were to quantify that loss and compare it to what the security spend would have been, we'll probably see that it was a lot less, right? It was easier to allocate funding to mature security rather than take the risk and actually deal with the consequence of loss.
So that sounds about right, Raul. So, in a mature organization, what does this actually take?
And so there are 3 steps that we would advise to our customers, and we can even help them with this. One is quantifying the business value versus the loss of it. What happens if it's impaired or if they can't bring it about? So now you have 2 things, right? You've got what does it cost to add or enhance business or service value versus not doing it at all. And then the next step is to quantify the cost to implement the security initiative, right? So now you have a bit of something to compare and calculate rather than just, keeping it conceptual. Then the third one is to calculate the return of investment on the prevention of loss. It's very easy to think of, if I'm going to allocate X amount towards an initiative and I'm going to perhaps benefit Y, the amount of Y. Well, when you look at Y and spread it over time, you'll break even with X, and then you have some value on top of that you can measure. That's typically what ROI is. But here we're looking at it from an inverted way. We're looking at how security is preventing the damage to the business or the service. And so being able to say, look, I've got this quantification. When you get fiscal year to fiscal year, you can actually quantify and say, this is what that security measure allowed us to do or prevent.
Thank you, Raul. It certainly sounds like we have a recipe to help our clients in this fashion. So thanks for your time this month and helping us with a security-focused Pulse.
Hey, glad to be part of it. Thank you so much.